I recently read a great article by a man named Jonathan Odell titled, "I Am a Recovering Racist." And the gist of this article is that this man says about himself that he used to be blatantly racist, and that he became that way with nothing but good and happy feelings in his heart. He never at any time felt any animosity toward people of color. He grew up in the South, and he says that when grown-ups were made to give up their seat for him, he liked being treated like that. That made him feel special. When he'd walk into a store and the clerk would come over and make all of the adults wait and come over and help him do his transaction, he liked being treated like that. That made him feel good. It made him happy. He was never even told, this is how people of color should or should not behave. Should never came into it because he was always set apart and deferred to. The clear and powerful message that he got from this early childhood treatment was that he was inherently better. As human beings, we can be biased in the smallest and in the grossest ways, and never at any time feel anything negative in our hearts. Very recently, Black people in America have cried out that Black lives matter. And almost immediately, white people have responded with a flip and dismissive, all lives matter. And as a country, we have, for the most part, gone about our daily lives as though American citizens are not being executed in the streets by the legal authorities who were supposed to be there to protect them. Some of our UU churches have put up banners saying Black Lives Matter. And some of those banners have been vandalized to either cut out the word black so that the sign reads Lives Matter, or they've painted it over black with the word all so that the sign reads All Lives Matter. It breaks my heart that it is so offensive to people to say that Black Lives Matter. Think about that. Some people have been moved to vandalize church properties with knives and paint because of those three words. To such indignant people, I have to ask, where is your outrage about things like Breast Cancer Awareness Month? I've never heard Americans flip out about breast cancer awareness, saying things like, well, what about liver cancer? What about lung cancer? Why is breast cancer so special? Even people whose loved ones have died from a cancer other than breast cancer do not freak out about breast cancer awareness campaigns, the way so many Americans are feeling a great deal of discomfort when they see or read the words Black Lives Matter. The talk that I'm going to give today is called Intentional Diversity. And I thought I'd use this moment to give a specific example of intentional diversity. For most of our country's history, professional orchestras have consisted of mostly white men. And in the 1970s and 80s, it started to become common practice for philharmonics and symphonies and professional orchestras to audition new talent behind a screen. This practice is called blind auditioning. And you can only hear the musician. You don't know what their race or their gender or their age or their height or their weight, nothing. It's all about the performance of the music. Blind auditioning is a deliberate, intentional step toward more diversity in professional music. The effects of this intentional practice and the lack of effects is interesting. On the positive side, the number of women in symphony orchestras has dramatically increased over the last 30 years as a direct result of blind auditioning. But that's not nearly so true for racial minorities. How can that be? If you can't hear a musician, if you can't see a musician who is playing traditional Western orchestral music, how can you tell if they're Asian or Hispanic or whatever? I don't think that the problem lies with whatever musician is playing behind the screen. I think the problem is that the journey to the screen hasn't really changed much over the last 30 years. I can tell you from my experience playing a concert grand pedal harp that if you're the level of musician who is auditioning for a philharmonic, you have spent at least $35,000 just on the instrument that you're playing with that day. Not to mention whatever you spent in previous years on student or learning harps like I play. But most importantly, you have to have been able to devote thousands of hours of practice and performance time to become that level of musician. Who's got that kind of time and money? The more restricted your time and money are, the more likely you are to be a minority. In that same cartoon, in that same article, I'm a recovering racist, there was a cartoon of a shark sitting at a table with a fork and a knife, and the caption read, white, black, Christian, Muslim, Jew, gay, straight, they all taste like chicken to me. Blind auditioning in orchestras, things like that are an example of a great step, of a successful step on the road to more diversity in professional music. What I hope to highlight in my talk today is the idea that a step is not a journey. And some steps on the journey to becoming UU can be more like leaps for people of color. I am one of those people, and I hope to give you something to think about today.